buckle up because we're going to take a ride through some political territory, legal skirmishes, and, oh yeah, preparations for the incoming Trump 2 administration. With us tonight is Guy Lewis, who has spent most of his adult life practicing law, both inside and outside of government. He served as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, appointed by President George W. Bush. He prosecuted drug dealers and crooks, some of whom wore white collars. He's currently in private practice. Guy, it's a pleasure to have you back on our program. Thanks for joining us. And big piece of news this week has been that Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, has, and I think it's fair to say, reluctantly dropped the 2 cases against Donald Trump. Everybody, I think, believed that Smith was doomed. His case had nowhere to go. But this is a pretty big, maybe, transition into a different kind of world. So do you consider this a victory for the rule of law and maybe a real defeat for Jack Smith?
Hello, Governor. Thanks for having me. I should say, Mr. Ambassador, congratulations. A lot of people.
Well, not yet. We're working on it.
Well, it couldn't.
Well,
the
thank you.
Could not have made a better choice. So, to get back to your question, though,
thank you,
Governor. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is a victory for the rule of law. Frankly, it is a huge, huge loss for Jack Smith, and it is a stunning victory for President Trump. I'm very pleased with today's filing, which is a motion to dismiss the 2 cases that Jack Smith was navigating.
It seemed like he didn't have much choice, that if he didn't file to dismiss, the judge was going to throw it out anyway. But it's pretty apparent that Jack Smith really thought he had Donald Trump on the run, that he was going to get him. I don't understand why the prosecutor seems to have such a personal vendetta against an individual. It's almost like he took it as a cause that he wanted to achieve, not because he felt that some law was so ridiculously broken, but he just didn't like Donald Trump, didn't like his politics, didn't want him in office, thought he could prevent him from being elected. But this has given, I think, a lot of Americans some real heartburn, Guy, that maybe we're getting to a place, I hope we're getting past it, that instead of beating your opponent at the ballot box, you try to take him to the courthouse and disqualify him and disable him by filing all kinds of legal charges. You've been in the courtroom, you've been a special or very important prosecutor in a major district in this country. What has happened? We didn't used to see this, ever. Why have we gotten to the place where this is now the new way to go after your political opponent?
Great question, Governor. So first of all, you start with the proposition that it's never happened like this in the history of our country. Never, not even a close call. Even when you look back and look at Nixon and how that unfolded with a careful and thoughtful congressional investigation and a pardon by President Ford, it never even got to the point where they were discussing prosecution. What's happened here? Now, why? You ask a great question. Why? In my judgment, having been a very aggressive prosecutor and a U.S. attorney for a long time, handled General Noriega, prosecuted the Value Jet case when that case went down in the Everglades, mayors, chiefs of police, handled a bunch of significant matters. I've looked at these cases that Jack Smith brought from left to right, carefully, thoughtfully, trying to figure out, please, Lord, what is the angle other than politics? And unfortunately, I come up empty each and every time. Even the filing that he just recently filed, Governor, he put in there, I looked at it very quickly. It was circulated around the Department of Justice today. And he takes a couple of cheap shots in there that just, in my judgment, in my experience, prosecutors don't do. He puts in there that this has nothing to do with the merits of the case or whether President Trump is guilty or not guilty. It's just not what prosecutors are supposed to do.
You know, the economy is uncertain. You never know whether your money's worth as much today as it was yesterday. It's one of the reasons I buy gold from American Hartford Gold. American Hartford Gold has earned a 5-star rating and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Be sure to tell them Mike Huckabee sent you. They'll give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first qualifying order. Call 844-417-1010 or text Mike to 998899. You'll be glad you did business with American Hartford Gold. When I look at this and realize Donald Trump's coming into office in January, a lot of speculation that he might go in and get rid of a whole bunch of attorneys in the Department of Justice. Would you blame him if he does?
Absolutely not. I think Pam Bondi, a sharp, top-notch prosecutor with a lot of experience, is going to come in there, and that's going to be at the top of her list. How to sort of rectify this wrong and what to do going forward to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, frankly. I mean, it shouldn't matter what party affiliation you have. The decision should be made on the facts and on the law and on nothing else. So I think she's going to come in, and I think her first order of business, Governor, is going to go in and review some of these, in my judgment, terrible, terrible decisions, political decisions that have been made by this administration. And a lot of people from the left are saying, well, it's terrible. You can't do that. Governor, every decision I made as U.S. Attorney, every decision I made as an assistant U.S. Attorney, when I was recommending to the U.S. Attorney or people in justice to prosecute this case, those decisions were subject to review. My conduct was subject to review. So why not Jack Smith's? I'm a strong advocate of going in there and taking a hard look at some of these collective prosecutors' decisions.
Guy, I was glad you brought up Pam Bondi. I've known her a long time. I know that you've known her. You know her very well. You worked with her in Florida. You've just described her as I think most people expect, a very serious, very experienced, and highly prepared individual who goes in to be Attorney General with an extraordinary level of knowledge, having been the Attorney General of a state, the third largest state in the country. So I think we're going to see something that is going to be bold, but also and always within the letter of the law. But how long will it take? Because I think the DOJ has so smeared its own reputation, destroyed it, if you will. It'll take some time for that to heal and to be rebuilt. And can it be? That's the big question.
So you hit the nail on the head. To answer your last question, can it be rebuilt? Absolutely. I think it can be. I think people want to believe in their government. I think people want to believe that justice is blind. I think people want to believe that the system is fair and impartial and decisions are made on the facts and the law. Is it going to take some time, Governor? It's going to, because not only the Department of Justice needs to be looked at very carefully, but the FBI as well. One of its functions below the Attorney General. I mean, a lot of people don't realize, but the director of the FBI reports to the Attorney General. So she will be in charge of the FBI as well. And there is a lot of work that needs to be done to restore faith and integrity in that institution as well.